I'd like to tell you something. It's a place I went to when I was 16 after being on mescaline, lots of mescaline. And at first it wasn't too bad until I passed out. And I ended up on this planet, a plateau floating around in outer space. I could see Saturn, other moons around, and hang on a second. Being 16 years old, it's really tripped me out. First thing I did, well, I was sitting in a room and, aftermath, lackeys. When people walked in, the skin or their body did not disappear. Pretty soon the whole room was full of uh, flesh, and it really freaked me out. And, then the walls started splitting open, and I could see outside, but outside was like stars and everything. So since it took me about 3 or 4 hours to come on to this stuff that I had done, extreme large amount of mescaline, I went outside only to see the mountains fighting with each other out here in Arizona, and the streets were like doing this. Light poles were like, like a wave. And I was like, wow, man. Then, like, the outside, the sky turned into four walls, and that split open, you know. The walls split open. I could see stars outside there and everything. So I went back inside. I remember the first album was playing was Carlos Santana, the very first album. And some girl had brought this potion, mescaline, back from Palo Alto. And I was holding on to her blouse the whole time. I didn't know who I was. All of a sudden, everything was really flipped out, and everything just went zoop. I blacked out, and I woke up, like I said, somewhere else. And my eyes were there, my body wasn't there. I just saw things. And in the distance, I saw, this is a short story, like a bunch of rocks and three esophaguses that looked like caves. And they were approaching me like click, 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 click. Finally, I got to them, and something said, now, pick one to go through or else. And or else wasn't good. So I went in. And there was no writing on the walls, but yet there was. So I knew I had picked the right one. People had been there before. And being a doctor's son, I went home eventually after I hung up for all my friends, grabbing onto the earth. I went back to the trip I was on before. I came out of that, grabbing onto the grass so I wouldn't fall off the earth. It's just a really weird experience and a feeling. And I went home and I got all the medical journals I could get that my father had left. I started looking up stuff like lily pudding and all that crap that people, wrote. Um, I came across this passage that said three doors: heaven, perception, and hell. And I flipped out, man. I said, my God, that's where I was. I had to be there. Where else could it have been? I went through one of these tunnels, doors, however you want to look And I must have picked perception. Sometimes I feel like I picked hell because, you know, the world seems like hell, but, and I'm not in heaven, obviously. And I obviously picked perception because I'm not a bad drummer and I perceive things in a different way than a lot of people. But I tell you, to go to this place, the three doors of heaven, perception, and hell, is something else. You can't get there on acid. You can't get there any other way but on mescaline. It's the only way you can get to this place. And I really don't want to go back here again. I already went there and picked up what I could. But believe me, it was the heaviest trip I've ever been on my life. And I've done lots of acid before and had, you know, trips happen. But nothing like this, man. Everything was so fucking real. I mean, planets like on Avatar, you know, the movie, man, like right there. There was these scooters, I call them in the ground in the sand, you know, like traveling along on my way to the click, 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 click in front of these rocks where these esophagus looking like tunnels were. But, you know, like I said, it gave me just pick one now, or if I would have picked the wrong one, I'd be in that house, you know, or I'd be dead, or I'd be a vegetable. So that's my opinion on the three doors, heaven, perception, and hell, from a doctor's perspective. So thank you for watching, and good night. Signing off, Bill Hornet.